I must really be the crazy one. The guy on the side of the street. Let's do this. Fuck, not that. That's always screaming at the side of the road. Look, I called this in 2016 that news organizations, the majority of them were colluding with each other, cross referencing each other, spewing the same message and blatantly misinforming people. And obviously they had a political agenda behind that, and in some cases they would collude with governments, with other companies like social media sites to try to silence the average everyday Twitter user or Facebook user, and they'll collude with ad sites. And I've always said this even in 2016, and I was the fucking weirdo. I was like, they called me a madman. They're like, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. That would never happen. Why would that ever happen? And I was like, well, okay, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but these are powers they absolutely can use, right? And this was back in 2016, and I mean, I didn't really release videos back then on my channel. I mainly just, I don't know, played Warframe. I think I, no, I don't think I had a YouTube channel in 2016, but I figured I knew something like this would happen, because in a society like this, it kind of requires companies working hand in hand with governments. And again, there's an incentive there. And that incentive is to get government grants and to get, tax write offs. Or look, the idea that companies and news organizations can donate directly to, say, the Obama administration, to like administrations, that alone just screams conflict of interest to me. But I guess it didn't scream that to anybody else. Because again, I was weird. But fast forward to today, right? Because I am that level of autism that will look in the past and see what company or no social media sites, what influential people, you know, influence politically would say, and then cross reference it to the situations that happen in current day. And like sometimes you'd have to look at a couple years back to see their opinions. Nowadays, you don't really need to look very far back to see the hypocrisy. I mean, just last month, every media site was saying, "Oh no, it's going to be a Harris wipe, a Harris win. Harris is going to absolutely win." Then she not only loses, right, but the Democrats lose everything. They lose the House of Representatives. They lose the Senate. They lose the Supreme Court. He wins by popular vote. Like it was a clean sweep. And now people are just, I mean, it's kind of people wanting to be on the winning team, but it's also kind of people being like, okay, well, I hate the road we're going down, but maybe there might be something of value here. But then the Democrats lose, and they're like, okay, well, now why would I be here? And I know most ideologies are self-serving. Like every ideology is self-serving. So people will use whatever ideology they can latch onto that, addresses their grievances and serve them. But it's like, what would you consider like legacy media or like, these media sites? Because I mean, this is fucking Instagram. I'm trying to find the original video, but now I have Instagram to look at, and they talk about how a good portion of the younger Americans are going to X, and it is true that X is the biggest site to get your news. It didn't used to be that way until Elon Musk took over. Because before Elon Musk, X, I guess it was Twitter then, what was just like any other media site that had any other type of censorship that was cross all the sites, and if you were banned from one, you're banned from all of them. But then X came on, and people were like, wow, I can actually express what I have to say. And again, we're not talking just racists, right? We're talking people that were just slightly critical of COVID. You know, people that just legitimately wanted to express their grievances. But if you don't do it with the right words or the way people want, the trigger happy moderators would just ban you. Like, this is the site that banned Trump for telling the January 6 rioters not to riot and to be peaceful. And then not only did they ban them, they tried to paint him as saying the exact fucking opposite. And I mean, it obviously, it's like you have the people that only gets their news from the TV screen, and the people around them that also get their news from the TV screen, and they look like them, act like them, speak like them, you know, have the same worldview. And now apparently they effectively radicalize, but it's not really self-radicalization, it's more like group radicalization. And you know, then they have this worldview. And fast forward to today, right? Now you're actually allowed to express what you want to say. And obviously, Twitter still has terms of service, right? But, and there's always the overconflations of, oh, if you believe this or if you're against this, they throw whatever moral term or morally charged label on you and then paint you as the enemy. So this is a 2-minute video. You know, hey, I'm trying to fill the air. If I just did this and had whatever to say, it wouldn't be that long. So let's give it a watch.
Regularly get their news from influencers on social media.
I like the way that she said that, right? It's just like this condemnation of influencers, right? It's like, you know, CNBC, if you and other news organizations like you wouldn't, you know, lie to people, then try to defend your lie, work in contrast with other social media sites, with advertisers, and at the time, the establishment, government, to just censor people for being just slightly critical of the vaccine, slightly critical of COVID, we wouldn't be in this situation, right? So it's like, what, 300 million Americans, and a fifth of that, right? That's quite a bit of people, like 50 million, around that much. Let's see, now I'm running the conversion in my head. It's because a third would be 100 million. A good fucking portion of, and we're talking probably young Americans, right? Because you have the boomers that, you know, everything they see is on the paper, you know, the people around them, the TV screen. But then you have younger Americans that have phones, they have access to social media sites, they have access to information at their fingertips.
The number is even higher among younger Americans, with almost 40% under the age of 30 getting their news from those sources. According to the Pew Research Center, the social media site X remains the most widely accessed platform, followed by Instagram and YouTube.
I mean, that comes obviously for political news. And Mike, that's the challenge. You grew up in a newsroom like Gene grew up in a newsroom. I mean, that's a challenge. That's a challenge for a lot of mainstream media sources is, do they make themselves relevant again to here 20% of adults who actually get influencers on social media?
I don't know.
I mean, again, if you didn't put time, money, and effort into wasting all the good faith you have in order to, you know, keep the benefits, because so in CNBC, you know, are in all those other acronym news sites, the alphabet soup news sites, they get a lot of privileges, right? They have the privilege of being a publisher with the protection of, being, oh, well, it's just our opinion, a media site. They don't outwardly say things, but they do a lot of implications. And there's a lot of implying to be done that they do with, people against even regular American citizens, with people of specific ideologies while defending others. I mean, this is what, and people see this happening, but again, at the past 4 years, right, I say like 2020 or so, you weren't allowed to express that because another term was being anti-science, which, what the fuck does that even mean? I guess because if you're against the Pfizer vaccine, you're anti-science, and it's like, no, I'm just slightly critical of it. I mean, you have Joe Rogan who's like, well, if you're 21 and healthy, there's absolutely no reason for you to get the vaccine. And there was this entire campaign against him done by multiple media sites to try getting him all his podcast off of Spotify. And again, he's just one guy. And we've seen the effect of this on Joe Rogan, the effect of this on Trump, the effect of this on Alex Jones. And rather you agree with it, that the fact that's happening or not, right? Or rather you agree that it's justified or not, this is absolutely something people see. People see news media sites, people see, legacy media, people see social media sites, and hell, even whole government bodies going against effectively average American citizens. And they're like, well, that's not fair. That's anti-American, right? It insults the intelligence, because now you'll want to craft this idea that the majority of people, other than, the small group of people that of a certain ideology that agrees with it, would believe. And again, at the end of it all, you just lied and tried to defend the lie. So yeah, people are looking more towards others means of news.
Maybe somebody who makes baskets, and while they're making baskets, they look up and say, vote for candidate X.
I don't know how they make themselves, how we make ourselves relevant again, because we can't.
Oh my, I don't know how us, a major news site, can make ourselves relevant again. That's very self-aware, I'll give them that. But basket weaving sites being like, oh, vote for this candidate, and they going back to weaving the basket. What? I mean, obviously certain content creators have their opinions, right? But certain content creators, again, base their entire channels on, their opinions, giving the news, just that. And others, again, they weave baskets, but clearly they might have a political opinion, but if they're a damn good basket weaver, people want to watch it for the basket weaving.
Compete with 20-second snippets on an iPhone, walking up the street,
morsels,
getting your entire news digest of the day in less than a minute on your phone as you're walking into the crowd with coffee in one hand and your phone in the other. I don't know how we catch up to that.
Yeah, so Gene Robinson, do you agree with Mike? Because I find this hard to believe. Well, that younger voters would be more interested in getting an entertaining 20-second news snippet than watching a cable news show.
And again, news does this all the time where they misrepresent the issue. They pick a fraction of the problem, right? And that's what this is, right? A fraction of the problem. Most YouTubers make like hour-long live streams, have 30 or 40 second, minute long videos going over their opinions on things, going over other things, right? And because of that, again, people don't just look for things to challenge their biases. People have opinions, right? People have a worldview. and they just look for people to affirm it. You know, look for political channels maybe, or if we're just talking YouTube in general, people mainly seek out the 10, 15, 20 or so YouTubers that they are okay with, right? That want some that gives them entertainment, others that, you know, they play games, and maybe some that have political ideology. Again, I look at a lot of YouTubers that discuss games, and some of them are people that I react to. But again, they're misrepresenting the problem. Like the 20 or 30 seconds, like you're not going to get an entire synopsis on the COVID vaccine in 20 or 30 seconds. Like that doesn't work that way. Like you're not going to get 20 or 30 snippets of Elon Musk buying Twitter, right? You're not going to get that in 30 seconds. But you are going to get that in maybe like a couple hour video. And even if it's videos of people you disagree with, right? Like, again, they're taking the a fraction of the problem and conflating it.
4 hours from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This seems like an easy choice to us here.
I mean, it should have been. But again, you and other news sites have pissed away that goodwill over COVID. And I like to use COVID as the benchmark because, again, it was social media sites, news media sites, and the fucking government working together to suppress anything that was anti-Pfizer, you know, even just slightly, slightly critical of the vaccine or of COVID, or people expressing that. And people even expressing, you know, okay, maybe I agree with the whole vaccine, right, but I don't agree with being locked in my fucking house. Yeah, if you said that, again, you would be banned. Some people would deplatformed. Some people would get, you know, their channels removed. While CNBC or MSNBC, you could talk all about it all you want, right? While if the YouTubers did, they'd either get demonetized or that video fucking yeeted. Like, you had so many privileges over that span of time, right? Where YouTube will always bring you up in the algorithm. Other social media sites will bring you up in the algorithm. I mean, you're, like you said, you're going from, you know, almost all day to tell the news, and you still fail to do that? Like Joe Rogan, some bald motherfucker in his basement is blowing your ass out the water. Wonder how that happened.
What is wrong with these people? Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
you are wrong with these people. They have a problem with you. You right there. About to turn me into fucking Soldier Boy.
Look, if I knew the answer, you know, I would implement it immediately, right? And reverse this. But we have to compete. I mean, the answer is we don't know how to compete with these social media basket-making influencers or whatever. But
doesn't basket weaver just sound like a derogatory term? That's not what he said, but it's like, oh, the basket weavers. Again, you had so many fucking privileges to give information to the American people, and they're turning away from you. That's a skill issue, right? I don't really know how else to say it. And the fact that they're just, I guess, acting like they know, it's the basket weavers telling you to vote for Trump. Oh, God, we can't compete with that. The skill issue, my guy.
But we have to, and so we've got to figure out ways to do it, and maybe we make our own 20-second snippets, and we meet viewers where they are. We meet news consumers where they are because they're not here, and that's the problem.
Coming up.
I mean, they were, there's fucking Diddy. They were there, but they turned them away. Sorry, I'm eating. I don't know why. I knew this was a 2-minute video. But yeah, I mean, the idea that a major legacy news media outlet is now just going to degrade itself. Will that help? No. Again, there's just a stigma around legacy media, you know, and, you know, alt media, like I said in previous video, yeah, they're biased, but legacy media at least tries, like, they present themselves as being in the middle, as being, you know, informative as opposed to pushing specific ideologies. But see, that's how they get in. Once they get in, then they push the fucking ideology. And after COVID, people just are sick and tired of you. Like, people just don't care. Where's my cursor? Oh, there you are. One tip: stop lying to the American people. Also, most of America loves Trump, obviously by the win. We all spew hate, that's all. News is nothing but bad news. And the thing is, I want these sites to exist. Like, I want everyone to understand the idiocy going on. I don't want them to go anywhere. Like, they're free fucking content. And now that they're crying on the fucking line, you know, because Trump won, that's even more fucking content. Because too much fake news, that's all. Yeah, and again, they get so many privileges, so many, you know, things that just average, you know, alt media absolutely doesn't get. If anything, YouTube hates alt media. They hate the fact that they exist. And they do everything in their power to regulate the fuck out of them. Well, okay, if you show a video of, I don't know, Obama drones striking a bus in Afghanistan full of children, right? If MSNBC shows that, they can show that in its entirety. It gets ads. They can literally profit off them dead children. But if some motherfucker in Afghanistan with a camcorder shows just the full unedited video of that happening, puts it on YouTube, he'll get banned. Like that's where we're at with media sites and with online, where you have all these privileges that you take for granted and effectively piss on, but I don't. Me, just the average citizen, doesn't. Yeah, so our podcast is where the truth is on social media, because when you take all the opinions out, the news fits in 20-second clips. And I'm smart enough to dig deeper for relevance and form my own opinion. I don't need them to tell me how to think. Dinosaurs roaming the earth, not realizing that humans have taken over. Yeah, I mean, again, their mind, I think they know why. Like, they know that this is what they're doing. I know how you fix it. You report on actual news, the real news, not fake stories, not propaganda from the government. We smartened up from fake news and now go directly to the source. We get the info before the fake news can even cover the story and tell us the lies we don't need to hear. Yeah, I mean, like when the Venezuelan gangs took over that one apartment complex, and, you know, I like watching older, like, futuristic dystopian movies like Judge Dredd, because nowadays they're very prophetic. Like, it was an actual modern day Judge Dredd situation, like the Apartment Wars, I think they were called. Like, literally happening in real time. Put some AirPods in, buddy. We drink our coffee while listening to 3-hour podcast. And then watch the clips about it, LMAO. Yeah. They still don't get it. That's easy. Stop lying, period. They live too much at this point. Yeah, and again, there's always this Goldilocks period where something new, something better will come along, and the consumer will just flock to a better product. Clearly, MSNBC and other legacy media sites are not popular. And again, on podcasts, you can at least discuss issues that, may not, you might not be able to discuss, say, again, on YouTube, or you can discuss them on Twitter now, but on other sites. And yeah, I think, again, the idea that you pissed away all of that goodwill from people, and now it's just, you don't get it, and you refuse to get it, and you misrepresent the problem. I think that's why people don't watch you. But anyway, I mean, that's all I gotta say about this. Peace. Fuck it.